The Avengers 4 trailer just dropped last week, giving us our first look at what the next Avengers movie might be about. Or did it? There's actually a lot of weird things in the trailer, and some people think this trailer might be fake or have a lot of misdirection. We are breaking it all down. This is the Nerdy News Rundown. Let's get you filled in. Happy Monday, everybody. Now, before we get into this story, I need to shout out KC Wild, who got the nerd card question correct from the show on Friday. You definitely know your stuff when it comes to Marvel Comics, so shout out to you, KC, and we will do another nerd card question at the end of this video. Now, guys, real quick before we get into why I think there's so much craziness and weirdness going on in the Avengers Endgame trailer, I did want to mention on Saturday at a Comic-Con in Brazil, they showed a trailer for Spider-Man Far From Home. This trailer has not been put out online yet, but as soon as it is, we will do a breakdown of it. There were a lot of cool things said in this panel, and I want to do a video breaking all of that down in depth, so look for that soon on the channel. Okay, so the Avengers 4 or the Avengers Endgame trailer is the talk of the town. It broke the single-day 24-hour view record for a trailer, and it currently sits at over 60 million views. And with all of those eyeballs, all of the hype, anticipation, and fans out there salivating, just waiting to know what's going to happen in the next movie, a lot of people looked at this trailer and uncovered a few very weird things. In fact, there's enough weird things in this trailer to make me do this video where I want to talk about all of these weird things and inconsistencies here and speculate on how I think this trailer is actually showing us a different version of events than the actual movie is going to show us come April of next year. And these little weird things and inconsistencies combined with the fact that the Russo brothers have lied to us before in trailers, and they even lied about the title of this movie not being Endgame, combines to make me really believe this theory that they are at least doing some of that in this trailer, if not a whole bunch of it in this trailer. Now, before I break down all the little inconsistencies, let's just talk about like the baseline story here. Like, what is this trailer trying to tell fans? Because I think that's very important to keep in mind when you want to juxtapose it later against a lot of rumors and other things that we've heard about this film. And so the basic concept here is that Tony Stark is in space, he's lost, he's not going to make it home, and he sends a message to Pepper. Then back on Earth, the Avengers are figuring out what happened. They know that it was Thanos. They're really distraught. They're coming up with some kind of a crazy plan, and then you end that all with Ant-Man showing up. A big hint at a possible solution to their problem, and a hint at time travel being the way to get around what Thanos did in Infinity War. And I think this trailer's serviceable. It starts out with Tony Stark. Very, very sad moment. He's saying goodbye to Pepper. He's isolated after the events on Titan. Bad situation. You cut to Earth. The Avengers are reeling. It's, obviously things were really, really bad. It's a dark time, but they have some kind of a plan. Last hope. Cap's like, if this doesn't work, I don't know what I'll do. Then Ant-Man shows up, and he's possibly going to help them save the day. On the surface, that makes sense. But when you dig a little deeper and look at some of the context within this trailer, you realize none of that makes any sense. And also, I should say here, I can't confirm that this is what the Russo brothers are doing. I can't say for sure that this is what they are doing, but we did hear they are doing something very peculiar and different with the marketing for Avengers 4 than they have done in any of the other movies. Kind of makes me think that they might just be lying and presenting all kinds of stuff that won't actually be in the film. So let's talk about some of the stuff that's in this trailer and what is wrong with it. Number one, this opening scene with Tony Stark just doesn't feel right. And there's a number of different things going on here that are weird. Number one, his clothing. His clothes are different, and even if he was wearing this under the jumpsuit that he had on Titan, it shows no battle damage. There's no hole in it from when he got stabbed in the gut. His face looks completely fine, which is weird because the timing here is strange. It's like enough time has passed to where they're out of fuel and food in the ship that they are flying, and not enough time has passed for Tony to grow like a full beard, for him to be disheveled, and for him to have healed all of his wounds. So there's something weird going on there. He also says he's alone drifting in space when he's clearly not. I mean, at least Nebula is there. And there's this really weird shot where people think there's Groot or a Groot in the ship behind Tony in this scene here. Now, I don't know if that's Groot or not. To me, that's a little bit of a stretch, but it is at least weird, this whole scene. And I'm going to come back around to this idea in a second here, but I really think this was a scene shot specifically for this trailer and that this will not be in the film at all. Then you cut to Earth, and there's just a lot of weirdness here. I mean, you know, you have Black Widow explaining what happened with the events and what Thanos was doing with half of life. You get Cap crying, and then you get obviously Bruce Banner looking at the pictures of Scott Lang and the other missing Avengers. You know, we bleep Shuri for a second, and then you have Peter Parker. Now, the reason this scene is weird to me is, like, why would Bruce Banner be distraught while looking at images of Scott Lang and Peter Parker or even Shuri? He knows pretty much none of these characters. He's never met Scott Lang. And in Infinity War, he literally says, wait a minute, there's a Spider-Man and an Ant-Man, having just met Spider-Man. And so at the very least, there's some misdirection going on here. He's probably looking at other images of characters. Maybe there's a picture of Tony Stark that he's looking at in this shot, or maybe this shot isn't in the movie at all. There's also a lot of weirdness and inconsistencies when you look at the shots of Natasha Romanoff and Steve Rogers. There's just something weird about Steve's face. Now, Al Schuler and I have been talking a lot about this. We spoke today talking about how Al believes that these are different versions of Cap, perhaps from different parts in the timeline. They just look a little bit different. The first one looks like Cap from the first movie. The second one's obviously Winter Soldier. He's even wearing the Winter Soldier gear. And at the very end of the trailer, it looks a little bit different as well. Now, for me, the one thing that really stands out is like the weird CGI that's going on their faces. Something's going on with these shots here, and I can't exactly decide what it is, but it's at least weird enough to mention. Now, also, this Ronin event here clearly takes place much later in the timeline than when they first get to the Avengers facility in upstate New York. Just too much time has passed. I mean, Natasha's hair is very short when they're on the Avengers facility, and she's clearly got it tied back with a lot of her roots showing in Japan when she confronts Ronin. So there's some kind of a time gap here. This is a long period of time. You don't just lose your family and then become Ronin in a single day or a couple of days. There's been some time that has passed between the decimation and Ronin messing people up in Japan. Now, finally, we get this end cap scene with Ant-Man, and by now you've probably heard of the time jump theory when it comes to this scene. In the upper left corner of the shot is an archive denotation showing that this footage is from 1983. A lot of people have even looked at the shot of Scott Lang pulling up to the Avengers facility, and it looks much different than the shots we get of this very similar entrance in Spider-Man Homecoming. But why does Scott have the van? I mean, that's the van from Ant-Man and the Wasp when he has the quantum tunnel. So does he get out of the quantum tunnel and yet still have the van in 1983? Does he get out in the future and then jump around into 1983? Now, again, there's just enough inconsistencies here for me to raise an eyebrow. And as I said, the Russo brothers have done this sort of stuff before. They've got the images of Hulk in Infinity War in the Battle of Wakanda. He was never there in the final cut of the movie. And that combined with the fact that we heard all these rumors about different kind of marketing for Avengers Endgame really make me believe that they are pulling some shenanigans in this trailer. Now, let me explain what I think is going on. This shot with Ronin, I believe, is from the reshoots. We heard about this. This was leaked. There were people that saw this because they were shooting outside, and there are a couple of different versions of this shot. But we know that this scene between Natasha and Clint, when he is in the Ronin gear, is from the reshoots. This is something they did during the reshoots, and I also believe that during that time period, they likely shot this Tony Stark scene. I mean, it just looks really sparse. It's just on set with one prop, and it's just Tony doing a message. This seems like the kind of scene you could easily do in a day of reshooting and then cut together for this kind of a trailer. What I mean to say here, guys, is I really believe that there could still be a massive time jump after Avengers Infinity War as we head towards Endgame. A lot of the footage that we saw in this Endgame trailer could have been doctored, could have been done during reshoots, could have pulled from other deleted scenes from other movies. Maybe that's why he's in his Winter Soldier uniform. I mean, there's just a lot of weirdness going on here. I think that Marvel is intentionally messing with you, messing with me, and that although they're tying together nicely a through line that the casual fans can understand and could get people hyped for the next movie, I do not think it's 100% accurate on what we're going to see in the movie and where we will start the movie. But that is the news, guys, out there. I believe that this trailer is full of lies and misdirection and deception by the Russo brothers. I want to know what you guys think about this. We've all had enough time to watch the crap out of this trailer? Did you catch something? Do you think that's Groot? What do you think about some of these inconsistencies? Do you have a theory of your own? Whatever you're thinking about the Avengers Endgame trailer, let me know in the comment section below. Now let's check that nerd card before we get out of here. I want to know, what is the name of the ship that they leave Titan on? I'm talking about Tony and Nebula, because guess what, guys? It's not the Milano. Like, I saw a lot of people saying it was the Milano, and then I saw even more people commenting that it's not the Milano. How dare we get that wrong as YouTubers, right? So I want to know, since all of you know already, what is the name of the ship that they leave Titan on? The Guardians of the Galaxy ship? That's not the Milano. Answer that question in the comment section below. It's gonna be a good week, guys. Got a lot of cool content coming your way. As I always say, though, I hope you're having an awesome and a nerdy day, and I will see you in the next video.